Hey guys, welcome to the Dice Odyssey. My name's Kaz, and today we're going to be talking about a 2 to 6 player card game made by Mayfair. Family business. Yeah, this game almost single-handedly cost me and my wife our wedding date. Come find out why. To get started, players are going to choose from one of 6 family decks, or mob decks if you'd like to be more specific. And this is going to be their starting hand. Now if you look, if they want to choose Murder Incorporated, for example, not only will they get Christopher Walken, but they'll get 8 other guys on top of him to represent their family. And if you notice, each one of them is no more than 5 feet tall. An in-joke on mobsters, but I digress. Oh look, Ronald Reagan as well. Now, once you've chosen your mob family, you lay them out in front of you in full view of all players. Think of these mob members as hit points. If you lose all your hit points, you lose the game. And that's the end of it. The bottom line is you want to be the last mob family standing to be able to win the game. That's the point of it. While your family cards may be your hit points, the main deck is what you're going to be drawing out of to play. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to draw up to 5 cards. When it actually gets to their turn, they draw 1. So just to clarify, whenever a player actually has their turn come up, they start with 5, but on their turn, they begin with 6 because they draw a card at the very beginning. This is very easy to forget. I do it all the time myself. So, in the game, the way it's played out is you have red cards, which are attack, blue cards, which are counter cards to those red cards. So basically, if somebody plays a red card on you, you could have an opportunity to actually counter that with the blue cards. And then you also have green cards, which are your rescue cards. Now, how this may play out in actual gameplay may look something like this. So let's say that, Bob over there decides to put one of my people on what we call the hit list. So he plays a contract card and he says, "Hey, Kaz, to heck with you. I'm putting one of your guys on the list." And I'm like, "Dadgum you, Bob. I don't have any counter cards on me currently. So I have to put a guy on the hit list." Okay? Now that's going to be the main playing area of the game. Now see, the hit list is very important because it's not reserved for you. It's not like it's your own player board, your own personal space. This is in the very middle of the board, and you can put anybody's gang member on it. Okay? Now, once you've actually put 6 gang members on that hit list, a mob war begins. And every turn that happens subsequently after that, people start losing 1 a turn. So literally each one of them gets killed until either somebody plays rescue cards, gets their people off of the hit list, which are the green cards, and specifically that's what the green cards are for, or all the mobsters are dead. At that point, the mob war ends. So there's been a mass slaughter, but it gets a little bit of relative peace, and now you get to begin again. You just clear those. And remember, these go back to the people as gravestones, okay? So again, this is like them taking a hit. And some people might take more than others. I mean, we've had people with 4 or 5 on there before, and it was just a mass slaughter of one person, So that can possibly happen as well. Now, you remember that I told you that this game was nearly the deciding factor in whether or not my wife and I were going to have that happily ever after? Well, that's probably due to the fact that counter cards can be kind of brutal. They can be wonderful help to you, but they can also be a bane to everybody else, especially when it comes to determining turn order. Now, in a normal game, you're going to be doing like clockwise, right? But let's say, just to give you an example, we've got a 4-player game going right now, and I myself am off camera. I'm player number 1. Bob the Stormtrooper is going to be player number 2. Stick is 3, and ball is 4, right? And Bob decides to want to put one of my guys on the line, so he says, hey, Kaz, I'm going to contract you right now. Put your boy up there. And I say, you ain't going to do nothing to me. I got a family influence. I got a counter card to your attack card. So why don't you just take a step back, boy? And from that point on, I proceed to now draw 2 cards because I now take control of the game, okay? Now keep in mind, right, Bob was the one who contracted me. He was the one who put the attack card on me. We got Stick and Ball who are waiting for their next turn after Bob, but since he attacked me and then I was able to counter cards give you control of the game from that point on. So these 2 jokers, they just got skipped. And that's where this game can be very, very brutal and in your face. I have seen games where people did not get an entire turn the entire game because of this. So what do I think of this game? Family Business has become one of my all-time favorite games. I'm not quite sure where I would put it on like a top 100 or a top 10 list of any kind. But I will say that it has caused me more laughs, more brain-hurting laughs. You know, the kind that when you're laughing so hard, you almost falling out of your chair and it hurts to keep laughing. That's kind of how this game feels to me. It has a lot of backstabbing in this game. There are a lot of ganging up on other people at times. Now again, if that's not your cup of tea, this may not be for you, quite frankly. It's not a very expensive game either. I mean, I think you can get it for about $15 on Amazon or anywhere else for that matter. But the fact remains that if you want something that's pretty quick and doesn't require a whole lot of thinking, it's just boom, 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 play your cards and get going. And again, it's something I think it would be fun for stress relief, for example. If you've got some friends at the table and they've had a hard day, they've kind of had a long day and they really need to take the edge off, this kind of gets you in that mode. I mean, it doesn't matter. You just pick on anybody at the table. And the good thing is everybody's got a very strong shot of being able to fight back. You know what I mean? Granted, there are times that people get skipped a lot. That's because maybe there may be 2 people at the table who've got a rivalry going on and they just want to keep fighting each other. Yeah, that can be kind of a detriment at times, but it's still funny to watch them. You're still involved because you're watching them and you're laughing at them because there might be attack after attack and counter after counter and attack after attack. So anyway, I do love this game a lot. And just for clarification purposes, what happened to my wife and I, we were in South America. I think it was actually in Chile. And we were traveling through several South American countries. And there was a gentleman from Canada that we met who actually had this game. And it means a lot to me because I wasn't really heavily into board games at that time, but he brought this down from Canada and said it was amazing. So we sat down and played it. And my wife and I at that time were courting. We weren't together, or I'm sorry, we weren't married. And I hadn't proposed yet, but I was planning on it. Well, I remember one game she attacks me, and because I learned how to counter, I started coming after her, and almost the entire rest of the game, I effectively took her out of the game because I kept nonstop attacking her. I really wouldn't attack anybody else. She didn't speak to me for about 2 straight days, and I had to eat a lot of humble pie out of that matter. So, yeah, it's got a special place in my heart for that matter as well. She still likes the game, but boy, it makes you get really competitive. So, yeah, 2 thumbs up for me. Love this game. I highly recommend it, especially if you're into that type of game.